Your bench grinder won't start. You press the button and nothing happens. Or you press it and all you get is a humming noise. Or you press it, it starts, but then it stops by itself. All these problems happen for different reasons. And you don't need someone with a PhD in bench grinders to fix them. In this video I'm going to show you how to identify and fix each one of these issues. Assuming the grinder is plugged in, you press the start button and nothing happens. We have two options here. Either the start button is broken and doesn't let power through, or the wiring is cut at some point. To check the start button, we might just need to fiddle about with it, or we might have to remove the rubber cover. In any case, if it's broken, it might be quite evident. To check if the power cable is cut, we can use a simple screwdriver tester. Just don't touch any non-insulated part with your bare fingers. Any of these two cables, the blue one or the brown one, can be the phase, the live wire, depending on if we plug it in this way or this other way. Now that we have the grinder plugged in, we can verify which is the live wire. If this were the phase, it would light up, but it doesn't. And this one, it does light up. So this is a live wire. And this shows electricity is reaching the start button. None of these other connectors should be live as long as we don't press the start button. The only other part that can give us a shock is the capacitor, which permanently stores energy. So we must not touch the capacitor's pins unless we know what we're doing. However, the important thing here is that if none of these two wires has electricity, the power cable is cut at some point. If we press the start button and all we get is a noise in the motor, or the wheels struggle or move very sluggishly, then there is something wrong with the capacitor. To check if the capacitor has failed, we only have to give the wheel a spin for it to get up to speed. This is because the capacitor's function is to allow the motor to start rolling up to a given speed, a speed at which the motor can roll on its own. When a bench grinder is running, and especially when it is stopping, it can produce strong vibrations, and these vibrations can loosen and release some parts. Some parts that can be released are the electric connections. When you press the start button, the capacitor is activated, sending a boost of energy to the motor, so it starts turning at higher speed. Once it reaches the right speed, the capacitor unlocks and the motor keeps running on its own. If the start button gets disconnected from the capacitor, the motor will start turning, but it won't receive the energy boost. And after you remove your finger from the start button, the motor will slowly stop turning. And you can even stop it with a bit of wood. So we have to get in there and reconnect the loose terminal. You must know, though, that we can't fix these connections removing the buttons. We must remove the grinder from the bench, turn it over, and go in through underneath. If we remove the whole buttons assembly, all connections will come off because the wires are much too short. It's not designed to be repaired through this window. If all terminals come loose and you place them on the wrong pins, you might damage the switches, the grinder, or cause the grinder to start off unexpectedly, something that is dangerous. So don't remove the buttons assembly till you have opened the bottom cover plate. Once you have opened the cover plate, Take note of which wire goes on which pin before you do anything else. Pin A1 is a safety connection that ensures the grinder won't start on its own when power returns after an outage. It forces you to press the start button again. However, this bridge, the blue wire that goes around there, is involved in connecting the start with the capacitor. If we remove the pin A1 terminal, the capacitor won't boost the start. And this is the cause of this issue. When you press start, it doesn't keep turning. That is, there is nothing wrong with the capacitor. The pin A1 terminal just fell off. If we remove this terminal, the pin A1 connection, you think it's starting, but it doesn't. It doesn't get the capacitor's boost because there is no signal from pin A1. If we remove this terminal, the pin A2 connection, and we press the start button, nothing happens. No noise, no power reaches the switch. There are other reasons why a bench grinder won't start, but fixing those are out of our reach, so I won't mention them here because we might need to leave those to a specialist. Okay, that's it. I hope this video is useful and you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye!